You already know that feeling. That Sunday night dread sitting heavy in your chest, staring at the ceiling, running the numbers in your head again. The bills. The paycheck that barely stretches far enough. The job that takes everything from you and gives back just enough to keep you showing up tomorrow. You know that feeling intimately, and somewhere deep inside you there is this quiet voice that keeps whispering, there has to be another way. That voice is right. And here is what I want you to understand before we go any further. Starting a business does not have to mean mortgaging your house, quitting your job overnight, or pouring your life savings into something that might collapse. The version of entrepreneurship that most people imagine is the dramatic, all-or-nothing leap. That is not what this is about. What we are talking about today is something completely different, something real, something that millions of everyday people are already doing quietly, steadily, and profitably, without the chaos and without the catastrophic risk. Before we go deeper into exactly how this works, I want to mention that we do have related programs linked down below in the video description. These programs go far beyond what we can cover in a single video, and the people who are serious, not curious, but genuinely serious, are already moving on them. If that is you, go check them out now. Otherwise, stay right here because what comes next changes everything. Now let me paint a picture for you. Imagine waking up on a Tuesday morning and not feeling that immediate weight of obligation pressing down on your shoulders. No alarm screaming at you, no traffic crawling, no manager breathing down your neck about productivity metrics. Instead, you open your phone and you see that while you were sleeping, something happened. A sale, a notification. Money moving in your direction without you physically trading your hours for it. That is not a fantasy reserved for some elite circle of people who got lucky or were born into the right family. That is what a low-risk business, built the right way, actually looks like after it finds its footing. But let me be honest with you about the before picture, because I think you deserve that honesty. Right now, for a lot of people watching this, every single dollar coming in is directly tied to showing up somewhere and doing something. The moment you stop showing up, the money stops. That is not just financially fragile, it is emotionally exhausting. Because you cannot get sick without stress. You cannot take a vacation without guilt. You cannot have a bad week without it costing you. That kind of pressure does something to a person over time. It shrinks your world. It makes you cautious in ways that do not serve you. It makes you afraid to dream too big because being disappointed from a high place hurts more than never trying at all. And here is the painful irony. The very fear that keeps you stuck in that cycle is the thing preventing you from building the way out. So let us talk about what low risk actually means, because most people get this completely wrong. Low risk does not mean low effort. It means you are not betting your entire financial stability on an unproven idea. You start small. You validate before you scale. You use tools and systems that already exist instead of building everything from scratch. You do not need a product. You do not need a warehouse. You do not need employees on day one. Some of the most profitable small businesses in the world right now started with nothing more than a laptop, an internet connection, and a clear understanding of one specific problem that people were willing to pay to solve. Think about that for a second. One problem, one solution, one person willing to pay for it. That is the entire foundation. The cost of inaction here is something I need you to really sit with. Every month you spend not building something of your own is another month of your ceiling being set by someone else. Another month of your income being capped by a salary someone decided you were worth. Another month of your time being owned by a schedule someone else created. That cost is invisible because it does not show up as a bill in your mailbox. But it is real. It compounds. And 5 years from now, you will either be looking back at this moment as the turning point, or wondering why you never started. People who take action on this stuff, people who commit and build consistently, they do not report back saying it was easy. They report back saying it was worth it. There is a significant difference. Now here is where strategy comes in, because wanting something and knowing how to get it are two entirely different things. The most accessible low-risk business models right now involve some form of service, information, or digital leverage. Services like freelancing, consulting, or coaching require almost zero startup cost. If you have a skill, whether it is writing, designing, organizing, teaching, analyzing, or communicating, someone out there is willing to pay for it. Not because you are perfect at it, but because they are further behind you and your knowledge saves them time. Time. Let us talk about that word specifically. People do not just pay for products and services. They pay to save time. A person who is drowning in their own business will pay someone who can save them 10 hours a week. That transaction does not feel like an expense to them. It feels like relief. When you position what you offer as a time-saving solution, the conversation changes entirely. You are not asking someone to spend money, you are offering them their life back in hours they would otherwise lose. The information and digital side of things takes this even further. Once something is created digitally, it can be sold repeatedly without you recreating it every time. That is leverage in its purest form. Your time investment happens once up front and then continues working for you in the background. This is exactly why the gap between people who understand this and people who do not keeps growing wider every single year. Now I want to address something directly because I hear this objection constantly. Some of you are thinking, this sounds great for other people, but I do not have anything special to offer. I am not an expert. I am not qualified. I do not have credentials. Here is the truth delivered with full respect. You do not need to be the most qualified person in the world. You need to be genuinely helpful to someone who knows less than you. That is it. The threshold for starting is not perfection, it is usefulness. And usefulness is something every single person watching this already has access to. The people who build successful businesses are not the most talented. They are the most consistent. They show up, they learn, they adjust, and they keep going when it gets uncomfortable. That is the real competitive advantage. Not a special skill, not a unique gift, just relentless consistency combined with the right direction. That direction matters enormously, though, because consistent effort in the wrong direction is just exhausting. You need a roadmap that has already been tested by people who walked the path before you and figured out what actually works and what quietly drains your time and energy with no return. This is where structured guidance becomes the difference between someone who dabbles for 2 years and someone who builds genuine momentum in months. The path forward is not complicated, but it does require someone to stop waiting for the perfect moment. The perfect moment is a myth. It does not exist. The moment you start is the moment everything begins to shift. If you are someone who is done watching from the sidelines, done telling yourself you will start when things settle down, done trading your best hours for someone else's dream while yours sits waiting, then the programs we have linked down below in the video description are exactly where you go next. Most people will watch this and do nothing. They will go back to their routine and file this away under interesting things they saw once. But you are not most people. You are still here. That tells me something. So stop waiting for permission and go take a look right now before that window of motivation closes, because it always does if you do not act on it immediately.